Hi friends, defect cascading. If the defect is not identified in one phase and same is moved to another phase without observing, again that leads to some more defects. If I give an example, suppose during unit testing there are certain defects we are supposed to identify or even certain defects which go unnoticed to integration testing. Then what will happen? Apart from these unit testing defects, there are also some additional defects got introduced in the integration phase. Because we did not find certain issue in the unit testing, it leads to get more defects in the later stages. So this is all about defect cascading. Corrective maintenance, we will be focusing on more on error findings and fault findings while system in use. We found out here kind of a design issues, coding issues, and after we identify the issues or errors or faults, we'll also be going to correct or rectify the defects or bugs which are observed while the application in use. What is a defect age? How will we measure the defect age? Defect age is nothing but it's a time between defect detection and a defect closure. Formula is defect age is equal to defect fixed date minus defect detection date. So what is not suitable for automation testing? Can we do everything automation? No. There are certain limitations also in the test automation. The first thing is when test cases and functionalities are keep changing. If any test cases and functionalities are keep changing, then you should not bring automation for those test cases. And also if there are test cases which we write and they will be executed only once in their lifetime, then for that kind of test cases also we should not automate. Then the third is whenever the test cases which we are going to execute like a more of a random test cases, monkey testing, definitely you should not bring a test automation for this kind of test cases. How much testing will be sufficient? So if somebody asks you in the interview question, how will you be answering this question? There is no straightforward answer for this kind of question because again it depends on various factors when somebody talks about how much testing will really required, because we cannot do infinite testing because the resources are limited. The resources can be your infrastructure, resources can be human resources, or it could be any other things. So these are all limited in resources. So because of that, based on the quality requirements, because every project they define certain quality requirements that they need to achieve, the kind of risk which project can take, and also what is the budget they can allocate to the given project, or how much time they can allocate. So based on all these factors, they should take a decision how much more testing they need to do or when they need to stop the testing. How will you involve new fresher into your testing project? Let's say someone you hired as a fresher into your project. If the resource is completely a fresher, but if he's really interesting and if he's really a passionate about software testing, then definitely we should hire that kind of talent. That kind of talents will bring new energy, new innovation, new thinking process into your organization. After you bring the freshers into your project, you should give complete induction on the project to the resources. You should give complete knowledge transition, knowledge KT for the new fresher. You should also give brief background and what are the different testing activity he has to perform. Also think about adding one senior tester or a senior developer to this fresher as a pair, so that if he finds any issues, any challenges, definitely you can work closely with that senior tester or a developer so that he can be productive as early as possible. What is all about defect triage meeting? Triage means a degree of urgency. Tester has to schedule the meeting with all the stakeholders to discuss on a defects and prioritize those defects and resolve the bug based on the priority. What are the different automation challenges? Number one is identifying the test cases itself for doing automation. That is the number one challenge. The second is finding a automation tool expert is also a very big challenge. And also developing a reusable scripts for automation. This is the third important challenge. The fourth is especially if you would like to automate the complex test cases. So metrics to check the quality of testing. The major thing is defect rejection ratio. Number of defects got rejected by total number of defect raised multiplied by 100, we get a defect rejection ratio. The second is defect leakage ratio. Defect leakage ratio is calculated as below: number of defects missed by total number of defects of a software multiplied by 100. These are the two metrics which will be used to assess the quality of the testing. So what is static testing? The static testing is nothing but it helps in finding the defects without executing any application code. By doing static testing, you will be saving a lot of money during your testing. Some of the examples for static testing are reviewing your code, reviewing your test cases, walkthrough of the application, and inspection of the applications. These are some of the static testing which we do normally for any testing projects. The concurrency testing is a non-functional testing. This kind of testing normally we used to find the defects when multiple users of the applications are using simultaneously. When multiple users are logged into the application simultaneously, so that is where we will be finding more issues. That kind of testing we call it as a concurrency testing. Normally during multiple users accessing the application, normally we see the challenges in the response time and a throughput and deadlock mechanism and so on. These are some of the issues normally we found out during concurrency testing. So what is crowd testing? The crowd testing is nothing but where we are giving our application or product is going to be shared with the expert software tester for finding bugs and defects. Because these days the testing is done based on the crowd testing, and which is a new trend is happening everywhere. So different types of functional testings are: one is smoke testing, two is sanity testing, three is integration testing, fourth is system testing, fifth is regression testing, sixth is localization testing, and the last one is user accepted testing. These are the different types of functional testing. So what is traceability matrix? The traceability matrix is a deliverables. We call it also requirement traceability matrix, which is an deliverables that helps to keep the relationship between the test cases and the requirement specification. This document gives a very transparent mechanism for to ensure that whatever we are going to put a links and relationship between the test cases and requirements, that gives the completeness of any software testing. So what are the different types of non-functional testing? First thing is performance testing, second is usability testing, third is security testing, fourth is installation testing, fifth is recovery testing. These are the different types of non-functional testing. Do you know what kind of testing we will have to perform to identify a virus in the application? We do a security testing to detect any threats such as virus from malicious outsider. The overall, that kind of testing we call it as a security testing, where that kind of testing we will be checking and identifying all the vulnerabilities on any application which we are going to test.